Hello, everyone. Andrew and Kelly here to talk about our top three most impactful movies and TV shows and whatever the hell else we watched in 2022. I watched a lot of stuff over the
Were
last
you about to
year.
say the word garbage?
No, well, I mean, I did watch a fair amount of that, but everything. So I watched 211 different things. Now that includes movies, TV shows, shorts, documentaries, docu-series, series of shorts, stand-up comedy specials, specials, musical theater, and visual albums. And keep in
Yeah,
mind that some of the TV shows I watched were like, I watched the first episode or two and went, nah. so it is a lot, but it's not quite as much as it sounds.
I watched 67 things and 42 of them were full series.
Hmm.
So
So we might be roughly equivalent on how much actual content, and I'm not going to, it's like I guess I could track watch time or something, but
oh gosh,
no.
that'd be
I mean,
that'd be a thing.
I'm rocking a whole spreadsheet here, but
Right.
yeah. Some interesting thing is I watched 140 movies.
Okay.
How many did you watch?
25.
Only 25 movies?
11 in the theater and oh no, I'm a big fat liar. Hold on. I can't read my handwriting.
Hmm.
67 is the correct. I watched 14 full series. I
Okay.
watched 53 movies. 42 is the number of stream. 11 is the number of theatrical releases.
Okay. I went to the drive-in 4 times.
Yeah, I went to
Well, actually, I
11
went
times to
twice
the
and saw
theater.
double features.
Oh, well, that
And
oh,
so I
them
saw four
birds.
movies at the drive-in, but it was only two separate trips because they're double features. Um, I also every of all the things I watched in 2022,
Mm.
the only letter of the alphabet
Oh, geez.
that I that is missing is
Q.
Q. Yeah. And I was thinking at the end of the year, I'm
I was
like,
right.
should I watch Q the Winged Serpent again or Quantum of Solace or something? But I'm like,
I've never,
it doesn't
have
matter.
I seen that?
Which one? The Bond movie?
Yeah, I
I have
believe
not,
so.
and I own it on DVD. I just never got around to watching it.
I think so because Jeremy
These
and
right
I
here are my unwatched DVDs. Just this little
just that
bit right
little.
here. Quantum of Solace is on there somewhere, and I've just never got around to watching it.
So I have my memory is shite, but
Q
because
the Winged Serpent's good though. That's a Larry Cohen movie. I like that one.
we're on what's the word that I'm looking for?
Mm.
Not Skyfall, the one after Skyfall. Spectre?
Spectre. I saw
Because there's
Skyfall,
two.
but there's Spectre. Yeah,
Is there one after Spectre or is Spectre the last one?
I think that's the most recent one.
Haven't seen it because it is not free anywhere. At
Hmm.
least not at time of like
Recording. Yeah.
last time we looked for it, which wasn't long ago, but like could have been 3 months. 3 months when you're this age isn't long ago, so things could have changed. But anyways, yeah, I will say a lot of the good stuff I watched was series. Like, man, TV is getting good, although I didn't like Dahmer. Sorry, guys.
Hmm.
Evan Peters.
Oh, I'm sure he's great, but
I couldn't even finish it. I was so bored. I was like,
hmm.
I just want you to be good though.
Stop
Like,
sucking, TV
just
show.
I mean, your story is from Jeffrey Dahmer. Like that, there is a lot that you can do with that. That is a hell of a tale.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to take a sledgehammer to my head instead of watching it. So
Mm.
I turned it off. It didn't continue, and my head
Yeah.
is still intact.
Oh, all right. Awesome. All right. So, why don't you reveal one of your three most impactful movies or TV shows of 2022?
So I'll start with the one that, if anyone watches our other show, Movie Mandates, will know that Amadeus was just the most incredible movie that apparently I've missed in the last 30 some odd years. I forget what it came out in the 80s, right? So,
I think so, yeah.
yeah. So I could have had 30 years of knowing and loving that movie, but instead I've only had 1 year. But thankfully I've had a year. So yeah, no, Amadeus, and if you watch our other thing, you could hear me go on and on about how much I loved it, but it was just, it reinvigorated my love of music. I think that for I had been in opera for so long, and I worked it, I listened to it. I love classical music anyways. You're an incredible musician, and you know so much about just like the history, like not the history of music, but like the composition of music, and like how, and so talking musicality with you is always very,
Yeah,
very fun and
I'm a
interesting.
little bit more in tune with music theory. You're much more familiar with music performance,
Yeah.
especially in the realm of opera and musical theater.
Yeah, and so just having that, watching that, I think it renewed my love of it, and I've been listening to opera again a lot lately. Like, we actually yesterday we were taking down Christmas. As you can see, there's some
Hmm.
missing stuff, and you can see the little
But part of the display is still back there, yeah.
that guy's blinking right there because I tried to get him off screen, but he's still blinking his
Yeah.
little heart out. I couldn't get rid of my Night Before Christmas tree, so I just put it on my desk. But yeah, so we were taking down Christmas last night, and Jeremy was like, I'm gonna go take a break and do something, and I was in my zone, and he's like,
Hmm.
I'll just turn on some music for you, and he turned on like opera divas or whatever, and so I'm in here pretending I'm the queen of the night, and it was great. um which is Mozart, by the way. So yeah, it everything about that movie made me happy, from the performances to the story that they created, because it is a made up story, but like it it's
The
an
details, yeah. I mean,
yes,
it's real people, real events, but
real people,
yeah.
real event, but like the day-to-day minutia of how
Hmm.
they decided, like, Mozart laughed. Like, you and I had a long conversation about, how, I wonder if it was written somewhere about how annoying his laugh was, and maybe that's why they've gone with it, because it is so iconic now. Like, whatever we'll say, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, the guy who played it's Hulce, and I don't know how to pronounce it.
Oh
Tom,
yeah,
yeah.
I don't know.
But whatever he did with that laugh, like, that it has ingrained itself in the zeitgeist, that like even Family Guy has done, like, if anyone is playing Mozart in anything, they make a parody of that laugh. Now, granted, they're making a parody of Amadeus's.
Far as I know, that movie is the originator of it, and as you said, it's shown. His laugh has showed up in Family Guy. Also, Gem and the Holograms. They go back in time to Mozart's day, and he does that too. And so far as I know, that's all based on the movie, because recorded sound. Mozart predates recorded sound by like 100 years or something like that. So
Yeah,
no
so
one
unless
has a
it's
recording,
written
but so
somewhere.
so it may have been so obnoxious that someone was like, "God, this guy's laugh makes me want to punch him in the nuts."
And he delivered.
Oh, it's a fun. F. Murray Abraham's performance in the as Salieri
Well, he
is
won for
the
that.
Oscar, yeah, and deservedly so. It is a delicious performance.
It's
it is wonderfully done,
nuanced and like
but broad at the same
it,
time. It's a nuanced hammy performance, which
that's
is really
true.
weird. How do you do that? How do
That
you
is,
have something so broad and hammy and scene
yeah.
chewy, but also so, as you said, nuanced and particular in the details, and feel like an actual living, real human being? It's
It
really
is,
incredible.
and so
It's
particular,
fun, and just from a craft standpoint, it's incredible to watch.
which I think, like, that particular meticulous type of thing that you just hit on is exactly, like, there's so many reasons why this movie honestly shouldn't work.
You know what? Yeah.
And I think,
Be close to 3 hours might be one of them.
it's really long.
Mhm.
A lot of the
Un-
dialogue discusses the composition of music and like this very specificity of like how one note like goes into the next, or you know, and like the way that, but like you said when we talked about it earlier, they being the writers, the directors, and even the performers have made it so that we all can feel it.
It's going into the minutia of music theory enough that it could be a barrier to some, but I felt that the film does an excellent job of presenting it in a way that is the most, perhaps not accessible to successful for everyone, but the most accessible for the lay the musically lay that it could possibly be.
Yeah. So I was moved by it. I loved everything about it. And I especially like the idea that a movie that is so critically acclaimed, because there were a lot of critically acclaimed movies in the 80s and 90s that were monumentally hated. The English Patient comes to mind.
Man and Woman Take a Bath. That's the English Patient.
There you go. Maybe someone dies.
I'm sure someone does. Yeah.
I'm sure there's some.
It's a drama.
But like for this one, it makes sense that it was so popular because it's fun, but it's sad, but it's hammy, but it's dramatic, but it just, for me, it was that thing that I saw this year that I sat at the front of the couch, like completely tuned in, for 3 hours. It didn't feel like a 3-hour sit without back support. I mean, I'm sure it did later when I was rolling out on my foam roller. I was like, ooh, that's not comfy, Kelly. But like, for me, impactful, I still feel that in me, like that. Like I was like, I wouldn't have been able to eat popcorn. It was just like, oh.
The funniest bit in the movie, the one that sticks out the most to me, I think, one thing I love about the movie is they actually take the time to stage many of the musical performances. And one of my favorite bits is where someone objects to the song, so they cut the song but leave all the dancing and choreography. And everyone's just dancing on the stage.
What's his
and all
name?
you hear Jeffrey Jones.
Jones is like, what's going on here? Oh, you didn't want the ballet, so they're just doing.
So they're just doing the choreography, and you hear the thud, 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 thud of their, you know, the synchronized rhythmic foot taps on the wooden stage, and it's like, what a perfect visual representation of why this is stupid. It is so damn funny to me.
Yeah.
There's actually a similar joke in a movie I watched the other night.
Oh.
I watched Storks, the CG animated film from like 7 or 8 years ago.
Oh yeah.
You remember that one?
I mean, I did not see it, but I do recall its existence. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just browsing through Netflix. I'm like, okay, sure.
No.
And I watched it, and it's, you know, okay, but there's a lot of visual humor in the movie, physical and visual humor that really is funny. Everything with the wolf pack is hilarious. But there's one sequence where our heroes have to fight a small, like 6 or 7, a gang of penguins, but the baby is sleeping. So there's this full-on brawl, but with no music. It's just completely silent. And it is so funny watching this enormous action scene with people throwing punches and throwing people through windows and stuff, but with no score at all. It's just quiet because the baby's sleeping. And sometimes one gets stabbed in the shoulder with a fork, and he's like, "Ugh." And one of the penguin gets kicked in the balls, and he's like, just pulls a pillow out of nowhere. Oh my god, it is so funny.
That's funny.
I wouldn't say the movie is good, but it's got a lot of really funny stuff in it that for me was worth watching. That kind of reminded me of that reminded me of that scene in Amadeus. So yeah, I'll say I did not find Amadeus quite the revelation that you do, but I really enjoyed the
Yeah,
movie too.
yeah,
It was my first time. It's one of those things that I'd long wanted to see, just never
yeah.
got around to, and was glad we watched because I really liked it too.
I was really excited. So yeah, that one just for me just jumps out as like the best. So for impactful, best movie watching experience of last year.
Mm-hmm.
That was the one.
Okay. So, viewers, please keep in mind that when we say impactful movies of 2022, we don't necessarily mean the best darn thing we saw that year. It could be impactful for any reason. It could be the worst thing we saw that year, or something that was just really confusing, or maybe it was just kind of blah, but gave us nightmares. Who knows? Any reason at all. Maybe
Uh-oh.
maybe there's a sense memory type of thing associated with that movie, like you were having the best damn ham sandwich at the time, and now that is um, irrevocably entwined in your memory. So
Well,
whenever
it's
I think
like,
of that,
was it 2 years ago when one of my most impactful films was Underwater, the one that we saw in the theater because it was the last movie we saw in the theater
mm-hmm.
before the pandemic, and I just I'll
Right,
always remember it.
and it's a fine movie. There's nothing
It's
wrong with
fine,
it. It's fine.
but it will because of that ham sandwich.
It's the ham sandwich of the film. That's going to be a thing now. Um, All right. So, one of my most impactful things I watched this year was Andor, which is the one of the Star
Oh,
Wars
okay,
live
sure.
action shows. Now, Andor is interesting because
And this is one of the shows you say?
yeah,
Andor is
this is
not a
a
movie. Okay,
correct. It's a
please
TV
continue.
show. You saw Rogue One, the Star Wars movie? No.
No, I'm
Rogue
Star
One.
Wars is the one that has gone by the wayside for me,
Mhm.
unfortunately. I mean, although Baby Yoda's not, Mandalorian is up there.
Mandalorian is peak TV.
The movies after it just
Rise of Skywalker.
the movies kind of have fizzled for me, and I really want to re-up them because I actually know how Rogue One ends. It's one of those, but I already
Well,
know the ending. But I
yeah.
feel like I need to go back because I've heard good things about that one, and there's another
Well, there's the Solo, a Star Wars movie, the one about Han Solo.
Yeah, but that one I saw because it's
Oh, you did see that. Okay.
Yes. And it has that girl with the red hair and the beautiful freckled face, and she takes off her mask as if she's supposed to be
Sally
revealing,
Kellerman. No, not Sally. Aaron
as
something or
if she's supposed to be
Kellerman.
someone that you remember,
Yeah,
and you're
she's in
like,
Willow.
you're beautiful, beautiful woman.
Oh, extraordinarily attractive.
But like when she takes off her mask, all I'm
Who's
thinking is,
that?
beautiful woman, who are you? Have I met you yet?
Yeah.
Nope.
So the reveal doesn't work
The
because I don't
reveal,
know who that is.
and you felt it as a reveal, not just like, let me take my mask off so I can actually have some dialogue with you. It felt like a reveal, and I'm like,
Oh my
did I
God,
fall
it's
asleep?
her.
Was I sleeping for the
Great. Who's
first bit
that?
of the
Yeah.
movie? Anyways, please continue. About this is not about Solo. This is about Andor.
Yeah. So Rogue One is about the group of people who stole the Death Star plans, right?
Yes.
And
Good.
Andor is one of those people. So they made a show about him. And my first thought was, why? I mean, okay, but I mean, please do something new. And so I wasn't particularly excited when it was first announced. I'm like, oh, the second character from a movie that, while entertaining, is I don't think is very good. Okay. And then the marketing came out, and I went, ooh, this looks really good. So I was really excited to watch it. And it premiered like in September, October, or something like that. And it premiered the first 3 episodes on whatever night of the week it came out. So I was really excited to see this. I was going to, even though it was I had to work in the morning, I was going to stay up and watch all 3 episodes. So I, hit at midnight. I watched episode 1. It bored the hell out of me. So I went to bed. And it was so boring to me that I kind of didn't even want to watch episodes 2 and 3, and it wasn't until I think I finally watched them. I just buckled down and watched them Friday night. and
Yeah.
they bored the hell. I just didn't like it. Not that there
How
was
how
nothing to
many
like, but
how long is it a 12 episodes, 10 episodes,
the entire
24?
series is 12 episodes. So this is
Okay,
the first
that's one of those.
quarter of the
Okay.
show. The individual episodes are usually around 50 minutes long.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the first 2.5 hours of the show. That's a lot of suck. Again, not that there was nothing to like. I like the BMO robot. I like the little droid robot. He's adorable. The performances are good. It looks good.
Sure, sure.
You know, I just found it really plotting and dull and uninteresting. I just didn't care what was going on. I felt the flashback stuff was very clumsily implemented and ill-defined what they were going for as to inform future character. So at that point, I was like, man, I think I'm peace outing of this show. And I was like, am I even going to bother to watch episode 4? But for me, Star Wars is something I just am kind of obligated to watch. It's like, if a Star Wars thing comes out, I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, I hear you.
So I watched episode 4, and it was amazing. I'm like, oh, holy shit! How did that happen? And I was like, oh god, wow, I'm excited to watch episode 5. And episode 5 was incredible, and episode 6 and 7, and all the way through the end of the series, it just had a really, for me anyway, I seem to be in the minority on this opinion, but I had a real rough start. But this is easily the best Star Wars TV show for me, and
Wow.
quite possibly the best Star Wars thing, period, even with a really shaky start.
Well,
it is
that
really, really good.
is incredible, because as I started talking about Dahmer, I don't know if that was in this recording or when you and I were just shooting it when we got on, but like, it was only 4 episodes of Dahmer that I made. So you're saying that the 4th episode of this one got good though, right?
Yes.
Okay, then I'm not going to give Dahmer another chance. But that's a lot to give, because are these hour long?
They're a little under an hour.
43.
They're usually around 50 minutes. Yeah.
That's a lot of time to slog through.
To be fair, I did not see anyone who had a big issue with the first arc of the show like I did.
Really?
Everyone else seemed to be fine with it. I felt it was just plotting, dull, and uninteresting.
Huh. I'll have to.
Again, not that there was, I like the general premise. I like the setup. I like what they were going for. I just didn't like it as presented. I found it very boring. Also, another thing with the first 3 episodes, I'm like, wow, these people do not know how to end an episode of TV, because it's just like, well, that's 50 minutes. Let's stop here. It's like, okay. But in episode 4, they find appropriate little mini cliffhangers. It's like, ooh, I can't wait to see what happens next week on Andor. But the first 3 episodes are just like, seems like a good place to stop. Okay. So yeah, rough start, but good gravy. Fantastic show overall.
That's awesome. Well, I'm excited. I'll have to maybe add that to my. I had something else that I wanted to add to my.
And it's not just because it finally does the thing I've been hoping Star Wars shows would do at some point. And 1, no Jedi. 2, no lightsabers. 3, no goddamn Tatooine. Oh, and 4, no Skywalkers or Palpatines or Solos or any of the or Kenobis.
But I wouldn't mind if you threw in an Adam Driver.
Yeah, hey. When does this take place? He's not born yet, so
no.
But yeah, it's not that I don't like Jedi. It's just like, I mean, even Solo, they had to throw in both the Rogue One and Solo were like, we gotta have a Jedi with a lightsaber somewhere, because they do a thing with Vader at the very end of Rogue One. And it's like, I mean, it's cool by itself, but it's kind of deflates the movie. It's like, I mean, as a scene, it's badass. It really is, but it doesn't really belong on the end of that movie. You know what? Maybe they should have put it like a mid-credits scene instead of the end of the movie. I think
Mm.
maybe it would have been more palatable to me there. And then Solo ends the same way with Darth Maul showing up and igniting his lightsaber for a completely unmotivated reason other than there needs to be lightsabers somewhere.
Mm-hmm. We need to connect back to a character that you've known
People
before to
like
make
the
it
glowy
worthwhile.
laser swords.
Yeah.
It's like I'm sorry, I'm sick of these people. I'm
Yeah.
sick of this location, and I want to see something new.
Yeah.
So Andor, I really, despite being kind of bored by the first 3 episodes, I really, really liked Andor.
That's awesome.
Easily the best Star Wars TV thing that I've seen. And it's even better than the Ewok adventure. And
which is tough because there's a really big spider. In
yeah, that spider freaked me out when I was a kid.
Oh,
and it's this
so
real
good.
it's this really janky puppet. But man,
it was freaky
when I was a
we
kid,
were
that was
kids.
a freaky son of a gun because it like stared at you and had glowy eyes and it hypnotized you and you couldn't move while this spider came over. Oh,
that was terrible.
Man,
and
when
then
I was 8, that was creepy.
oh man, I love Wicket. Yeehaw, Wicket.
Yeehaw, Wicket. All right. So, what else did you find notable in 2022?
Okay, so the other thing that I found notable in 2022 is that
impactful, I think.
Impactful is that Meryl Streep can be wrong. And so a part of me.
What, are you telling me she's human?
Yeah, but it's a bit soul crushing. Next, you're going to tell me Helen Mirren is human, and then I don't know what I'm going to do because Helen Mirren is a goddess. So earlier this year, and I mean much earlier this year, like
this isn't going to be like a soul crushing revelation, like she's a
oh no, she's an amazing human being.
Okay.
Oh golly, no. She made the worst movie known to man, and I mean top 5 worst movies ever.
Wow. Okay.
That I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen, and I mean, one of those movies has Tom Green in it. That's how bad.
Is it Freddy Got Fingered?
That would be the one. Okay. I refuse to use that word, though. I refuse to say the title of that movie. So I'm glad that you.
Freddy got digitally manipulated.
Oh God, it's disgusting. It is one. I walked out of it. In fact, and I.
What were you even there for?
To watch it.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
So I was in college. And
we all make mistakes in college. Freddy Got Fingered was mine.
And I walked out and I was like, okay, nope. And I think that maybe I sat through freaking Where's Marlowe, but like this one I walked out of because it's offensive. Okay, so the point is that earlier in the year I was in whatever state, doing whatever show I do. And one of my colleagues says to me that she watched a movie on the plane called Let Them All Talk, and that it was horrendously terrible, and that she is going to save us all from watching this movie because she did it for us and it was terrible. Well, challenge accepted.
I have died for your sins,
says Eisen. Well, here's the thing. It has Candice Bergen, Diane Weiss, and Meryl Streep. And I'm like,
the cast.
You just don't get it, obviously. So in my head, I'm like, oh, I'm going to watch this thing and prove to you what it is you don't get. And of course, this is what's going on in my mind because I'm very holier than thou. I never said anything like this to her. I didn't even say I was going to go watch it.
Mm-hmm.
I was just found myself on a plane yet
prudent
again.
enough not to rub it in before you've proven them wrong.
Right. But, because you know me, I like a slow burn. I like a thought-provoking piece.
Mm-hmm. A deliberately paced movie or two.
I love a good Martha Gay Harden scene where she's just silent in the kitchen. And I'm like, I love you so much. It means so much. So yes, this is all true. So it took me more than one flight to watch this movie. Because every time I did not want to continue. So the first flight, I think I made it about 40 minutes through the movie. And then I stopped and I was like, I can't I can't do this to myself. I want to live.
My life is too
My life
precious.
is too important. And then, of course, I did my show and I got back on the flight to come home. And I thought to myself, it's Meryl Streep. She is not going to choose to be in a movie with no purpose. There's no purpose. I will finish it. Took me 2 more times to finish it because I stopped it again. And it's not a 3-hour movie, guys. It's like 120. No, that is 2 hours. It's a 2-hour movie, maybe. Okay. So the point is, it's not a sit. It's probably not even 2 hours. The point is here's what it's about.
What's it called again?
Let them all talk.
Okay.
Meryl Streep is a writer. She's apparently a very, very good writer. And she has won a prestigious award across the ocean. And she doesn't fly. So she's going to take an ocean liner across the ocean to go receive this prestigious award for her writing. Wonderful. She's going to take her nephew.
Wait, she's going to a ceremony where it's going to be presented to her.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So she brings along her nephew for reasons. And her 2 best friends from childhood, like 30 years ago. And so you meet Diane Weiss and Candice Bergen. They're, the people that she grew up with, and they loved each other, but they've grown apart, haven't actually talked to each other in years, really. Right. Maybe there's been a Christmas
We're
card.
Using this opportunity to reconnect with our friends.
Sure. Absolutely. So it's
and we've brought my nephew, who's going to feel really awkward and out of place because I don't know these people.
Because he's 20 and we're all in our 60s or higher. So yeah, it makes reasons. And it
Thanks,
literally
Aunt Meryl.
Is just these 3 women on a boat. And it's as if I went through a week in my home, and every day at a different time, a camera crew came in for 10 minutes. Maybe one day I'm putting away Christmas ornaments, and it's just catching me for 10 minutes putting away Christmas ornaments. And then it comes the next day and I'm actually having a conversation with Jeremy and about nothing, but it's going to capture it because that's what they decided to do that day. And then the next day I'm giving a life lesson to a child you didn't see before. Why am I giving this life lesson? Or after, did he actually take it? No, he did not. But it's like they're at dinner and they're eating and they go, hey, do you want to go to a thing later? Oh no, I have to write later. Okay. And then the next morning they're walking the boat and they're like, oh yeah, no, we went out last.
Just had an image of someone leashing, having a boat on a lead and walking them like a dog.
Yeah, but they show these ladies at dinner and it is the most uncomfortable thing to watch because they're just eating, but they haven't talked to each other in 30 years and it's uncomfortable. And Meryl Streep is working on a next novel. Like the whole idea is like she's working on a follow-up. And so she's constantly needing, she's like, we probably won't have a lot of time to talk and hang out. So I'll see you guys at dinner because I have to spend a lot of time writing. And it's literally, she doesn't see her friends. And then her friends talk about her in a very like, oh, Diane Weiss is always like, oh, Candice, that's not their names, but she's okay. And Candice Bergen is only there to like land a high roller new man's. And it's just like, why am I here? And there's nothing. It's like my dinner with Andre took a sedative. That is what this movie is. There's no ending. She dies.
Well, who does? Meryl Streep? Did she fall off the boat? What?
No, she just didn't wake up.
She just passes away before they get there?
She dies on the boat.
Okay.
And they all go to, like, nephew and the 2 friends are like, well,
I guess
she really wanted to take us to, no, they never go to the awards. They go to the author who inspired Meryl Streep to write has a grave there across the pond. Uh-huh. And they go visit the grave of this person who was the most important writer to Meryl Streep's character. And they go, Yeah. That's it. That's the movie.
You know, you have
There is
to.
nothing that you're not. I haven't learned anything. I didn't care about anyone. I don't understand why the nephew is there. There's the dialogue is obviously these women do well in these roles because it's probably hard to. It's very slice of life, but I don't freaking care.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's nothing. I've learned nothing. I get nothing. Your motivation is nothing. Let them all talk about what?
Like, I haven't seen the movie, but in my head, I'm constructing a movie that is a combination of the worst instincts of David Mamet and Terrence Malick. Is that close?
Not so much Terrence, but Mamet 100%.
Definitely Mamet.
Like, I think Mamet and Harold Pinter had a baby.
Okay.
And it was this movie. Because
like, I'm trying to think of a director because I was trying to think of a director who just has a lot of, you go to scenes and you're just like, why? What's the motivation for being here? Why are we still here? What connection does this have with anything else?
Yeah,
And Malik's like the one that's coming up with me.
Well, Malik is, but he'd at least make it beautiful.
Very true. Yes,
he'd at least make it beautiful. But this, I don't even know who the director is. It was just, I'm going to show these two people on a boat. And by the way, you're on a boat, and it was well done to make it feel claustrophobic because you're on a boat. This was a
cruise liner, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But like, there's hallways and stuff. Sure. But like, there's no.
Like down where the cabins and stuff are is going to be very narrow and
and that's realistic. But at the same token, I don't want that. I want to see the Titanic grand view. I'm king of the.
Get up on the deck, dipshits.
I just wanted
go to the ballroom
to understand why I was watching it, and then I have
get the DVD, watch the audio commentary if there's one.
Oh, I don't even think
I've actually done that before. Like, I've watched audio commentaries just trying to figure out what they saw. It's like, okay, what the hell was anyone think? I have no interest, but I just have to know what they were thinking. I can't. Nothing comes to mind. But what you said actually brought up something that I've never considered before, and that is, I have to imagine that cruise liners probably fairly frequently come into port with at least one dead person.
Yeah.
Like, I have to admit, because a lot of old people like taking cruises. So I have to imagine it's fairly common that, you have the people working the boat. It's like watching all the people get on. It's like, man, odds are not everyone's getting off.
Well, because
a couple people, just pass away before we get where we're going. It's like, oh, that's terrible.
Well, it was very interesting because when I was because I got I forget which cruise line hired me. I ended up not going because I moved back to Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
Very different than in the ocean.
Yeah.
But I was scheduled to go on my first 6-month tour and decided against it. But part of the hiring process to actually even just work on it, you actually have to take like health tests and stuff, because these cruise ships are like a mile long, and you're going to have to be walking from that end to that end every day, all the time, to make it to rehearsals, to make it to this, to do this, and then you're going to be uplifted. So they actually had to like test, like, do you have, is your heart okay? Do you have the stamina for this? And it's an interesting, it's a different hiring process than I've been through. And so they obviously, the crew has to be able to do that because the crew is on and the crew is doing a lot of things. And depending on, I was obviously hired to stage manage their productions. But what was the word that I was looking at? But like, none of that is taken into account for guests. Obviously it shouldn't be, because you can't be like, oh, sorry, you're not physically fit enough to be on a cruise where we're going to have like an open, bar and smorgasbord every day.
Although hopefully they do health screen people. It's like, you can't, have a contagious disease and come on the ship with everyone else.
That would be lovely. But like, you have to, but like, it probably is, for people who don't realize it, a much more demanding physical experience than you think it is, because you are living in the gallows, and like if you want to come up to swim or
it's a bit
watch
of a walk.
seagulls, it's a hike and you're gonna get lost, and it's all this kind of stuff. So anyways, I never thought about that either, but that's probably a sad reality.
Yeah.
So
all right, so as we've just illustrated, our most impactful films from or shows from 2022 don't have to be necessarily the best thing we watched. And I am going for my second most impactful thing of 2022. I'm going to stretch the definition of thing I watched a little bit.
Did you experienced it, I'm guessing?
Well, here's the thing. So I probably should have written this down beforehand, but I'm going to try and explain what I am nominating for my most impactful thing. And I would say series of shorts based on Disney IP. Last year, Disney Plus ran a short series, a series of 5-minute short films based on the Pixar film Up, called Doug Days, about the dog Doug, squirrel, baby. That guy.
Oh,
right?
I know Doug. Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that would kind of like be taking Pirates of the Caribbean and then making the sequel all about Jack Sparrow. A very bad idea because he's not the protagonist. He's the supporting character. Oh no,
that's why you make it a short.
Yeah, I mean he should be in there, but should not be the focus.
Okay.
So I was a little concerned going into Doug Days, and I watched it, and it's okay, it's fine, it's cute, it's fun. It does. You're not frozen, are you? Okay, good.
No.
Just want to make sure. So, but that was 2021. This year, Disney knocked some of these shorts based on their own IP just completely out of the park. Now, not entirely successful. The I Am Groot shorts I thought were
I was
inconsequential.
I was looking at my phone. I'm like, "Ooh, is he going to talk about I Am Groot?"
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed them. They're cute, but they're just kind of like once you're done watching it, it's like out of your brain. But they had Scrat Tales, which was based on the Ice Age franchise, which is that little
the little squirrely guy,
and I said
played by Ray Romano. But no, Ray Romano.
Well, he plays the mammoth.
John Leguizamo.
He plays the sloth. I have no idea to Scrat the squirrel because he doesn't interact with any of the main cast. It's just fun little like Tex Avery comic stuff. He's essentially Wile E. Coyote.
Yes.
Where the acorn is the roadrunner, right? And I remember Grandma and I saw Ice Age back in 2006 or whenever the hell that came out. And I remember thinking, man, if they just want to make a series of shorts based on Scrat the saber-toothed squirrel trying to get an acorn, I'd watch that. Well, 15 some years later, it's exactly what they did, and it's a fun series.
But I haven't even heard of this. That's awesome.
I think it's called Ice Age Scrat Tales or something.
It's on Plus, I'm guessing.
It's on Disney. Yeah, all this stuff's on Disney Plus.
Okay.
And if that were it, I wouldn't have nominated this. But then,
wait,
they did a Baymax show, which is based on the big inflatable nurse robot from Big Hero 6,
which I've never seen. I know
it's fun. I liked it, and I'm like, you're doing a Baymax? I mean, well, Baymax is cute, so. Sure. And I watched it, and it was incredibly good. It is very funny and very well written and very satisfying in its conclusion. I think there's like 6 episodes, and the first 4 episodes are Baymax just kind of wanders into town and finds someone with a problem and helps them whether they want it or not. And then the last 2 episodes are a 2-parter where Baymax goes missing and everyone that he's helped come together to go find him, and it's really well done. It's really funny and charming, and I loved it. And then they did shorts based on Zootopia, of all things. It's called Zootopia Plus, and they're really good too. Now,
is it the sloths? Do they track the sloths?
The
that work?
sloths are in one of them. There's a woman who I don't know what she is. She's a muskrat or something, but you know, she works at a fine dining establishment, and she has tickets to go see Gazelle, whoever
Oh, sure.
you know, the big pop artist who's
Right.
a gazelle named Gazelle, or maybe
Yeah.
it's Giselle, I don't know. But so she's got tickets to go to the show tonight, and she's so excited to do this. And she's like, all right, I'm leaving in half an hour. And who comes into her restaurant but the two sloths?
Oh,
And she's like,
oh,
you know,
oh, that's
looking at the clock, and
beautiful.
like,
Oh, that's a beautiful.
it is a wonderful premise.
Oh,
Each of the shorts, no, I don't think it. I think they are all independent of each other. I don't think it crosses over with anything. Although a couple of them happen simultaneously with events of the film. So you'll see like
oh,
Judy
that's
running
cute.
by in the
I've always
background. It's
liked
like,
that.
oh,
I
this
like
is taking place
that's
during
cute.
this moment in the film. Oh, all right. And honestly, if it were just Baymax or just Zootopia Plus, I would have nominated either of those. But since they were both there, I just wanted to call out. I think Disney is
Oh,
doing a really nice job adapting some of their IP into little short series, because both Baymax and Zootopia are really, really well done. And I didn't think Zootopia was that great, but good gravy, Zootopia Plus, the shorts are really, really funny and
I'll have
really
to
well done.
watch.
So
That's
they're
I don't
definitely
even think
worth a
the
watch,
kids
I
know
think.
about this. We'll have to
Yeah.
watch that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I
That sounds
might
awesome.
give the nod to Baymax if I had to choose between the two, but they're both so good. I thought they were both worth a mention. So
What did I see when you saw Big Hero 6? Did I see Into the Woods that day?
hell
Because
if I know.
we were in Kentucky and I wanted to see a movie, and you were like, I'll go watch this one and you go watch this one. I believe I watched Into the Woods.
Well, we weren't together. Did you
Not in the
call me or
same
something?
movie theater,
Yeah, I'm like,
but
because
I that's what I'm saying. Like, and then we went to the Mexican restaurant afterwards.
well, you and I didn't.
Yes, we did.
I wasn't in Kentucky last year.
It wasn't last year. It was when Big Hero 6 came
Oh,
out.
oh, okay, yeah.
Because you didn't want to see what we were going to the movies. You didn't want to see what I was seeing. And I was like, and which is why I've never seen Big Hero 6. Because you saw
Huh.
it in the theater. I swear that was it. And then we went to Chevy's, which
Yeah.
is right down across the street
Okay.
and get some coffee. Anyways,
Yeah,
that's
I
my story.
don't remember.
Doesn't matter. I remember
Boy,
stupid
that
things.
must have been something I was really uninterested in seeing, because that's seems like something I normally wouldn't do.
Yeah, I
Just say,
know.
no, I'm not going to watch that. I'm going to go
Which is
watch
why I'm
something
like, it
else
couldn't have
by
been Into the
myself.
Woods. It had to be something else. But oh well,
Now I
doesn't
know
matter.
Tim's done that before. I that doesn't sound like me, but
Well, maybe Tim did it. Maybe he watched Big Hero 6. And I was like, oh, brother saw that. He liked it.
maybe
Okay.
that's what it was. All right,
Perhaps.
third impactful film of 2022,
Okay, so
or thing you watched.
yes. I'm nervous because I just don't think you've watched it and I just don't want to give anything away. But
Ooh, okay.
this season of The Boys, did you get it in?
No, no,
Ah,
I
darn
haven't
it,
watched it
brother.
yet. But this season of The Boys, huh?
This season of The Boys.
It's I keep meaning to watch it, but it's like 8 to 10 1 hour episodes, and I'm like, ah, damn it, I don't have time right now.
Oh, it is. It is.
I really want to watch, because I quite enjoyed the first two seasons, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where the third goes. I just
So
haven't got a chance, haven't taken the time to watch it yet.
I really liked the first season of The Boys.
Mm-hmm.
The second season, I didn't like any more, maybe a little less. I didn't think that it added anything. I didn't think it took away anything, season two.
I
I
think,
just thought it kept going. It was fine.
I think one thing I would give season two over season one is I think they took efforts to and succeeded in making the girl a character who actually has a character and is interesting.
Starlight.
No, I'm sorry, not Starlight. The other girl on The Boys, who doesn't
Maeve.
speak. No, not Maeve. The girl who doesn't speak.
There's a girl who doesn't speak. Black Noir doesn't speak.
No, she's not a superhero.
Oh.
She's one of the
Oh,
boys.
okay. Yes.
Susan
Aiko
or
or
whatever. Yeah, sure.
the
Whatever her
Frenchie's
name is.
girlfriend. Frenchie's girlfriend.
Well, the girl that Frenchie's
Frenchie's
being a
girlfriend.
little creepy with, but you know,
Yes.
but yeah, I don't remember, and that's the problem. Is it took you literally 1 minute to figure out which character I was talking about because she has no impact on the plot, and that's a problem from the comic book. She's just the girl
Oh,
who
okay.
has no dialogue because girl,
Because girl.
because
Sure.
girl. Don't talk, girl.
Yeah.
You'll ruin it. You know.
Women are meant to be seen and not heard.
Exactly. She can kick ass, but just don't talk.
Yeah, just
So
don't
I
speak.
thought the second season was admirably making strides to make her an actual character who is interesting, to various levels of success.
Yes.
But I loved what's her face, the Stormbringer, Stormfront, right? The Nazi.
Yeah, Stormfront, who used to be Liberty.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what that actor's name is. Like,
Not a clue.
yeah, I've seen her in some other stuff. She's very funny. But I think she did great. Anthony Starr, who plays Homelander, continues to just knock it out of the gosh darn park with his portrayal. It's just amazing.
Incredible in season 3. Like, so much so that I fear he's an asshole in real life because it seems so perfect. And I don't know. Let me be clear. I know nothing about him.
Yeah.
I've read nothing about him. So one would assume that if he was some toxic masculinity type guy, there might be news about him out there. And I may have stumbled upon it. And since I've stumbled upon anything, I'm going to just assume that everything is hunky-dory over there in the land of the boys.
Yeah, it's because like, who did we just find out this week is a piece of shit, Justin Roiland, from the Rick and Morty and stuff like that. Yeah, I know. It's like, oh, God damn it. Why does everyone who makes stuff I like have to suck as a human being? And I don't even like Rick and Morty, but no,
Homelander, what incredible talent.
Mark Harmon, Dan Harmon is the other guy. That guy was a piece of shit, but does appear to actually be putting in the work to fix that and not do it anymore and reconcile with it and make amends for previous toxic behavior, which it's all you can can do. But it's like, I am so tired of so many creative people who make work that I admire turning out to it's like it's fun admiring other people. It's like, oh, this person does cool stuff, I like them. It's like, oh no, they're racist. No, it's like, oh no, now racist. Every time I watch the cool stuff, I got to think about what a bigoted piece of poo-poo you are. And that's not fun. I mean, the worst part is the people you hurt. I mean, I hate to make it about me. It's like, you're ruining my good time. Stop hurting other people. It makes it hard for me to enjoy movies.
Yeah, I would like to give you my money, and now I'm not going to. Yeah. No, it is unfortunate when you learn certain things, and I do believe that it cuts into the enjoyment.
J.K. Rowling's like, what you gonna do now, motherfucker? You already bought all my books.
I know.
It's like, oh man, I guess I should have seen it coming with the weird stances on slavery.
Here's a sock.
I mean that was in the second book, and it was really, really weird. That's so weird about, I guess, maybe broadly humans in general, is I think we want to think the best of other people, and you see something that is screaming red flag waving, like all of the elf stuff in the second Potter book, and you're just like, I should give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she's just just not thinking this through. It's like, I mean, I want to have a race of elves who serve this plot function, and that's just what they do. Not really thinking about the consequences. I'm like, oh, okay, but years later, upon reflection, it's like, no, she's just awful.
Yeah, well, and I hated Dobby in like that was a character that annoyed the ever-loving crap out of me.
Yeah, Hermione is the only one who,
later.
Hermione is like, well, that's like slavery, and everyone else is no. You see, elves like it that way. They couldn't survive without us owning them as property. I'm like, wow, where have I heard this before? Holy shit. And then Hermione is treated like a pariah, and she's like, oh, that Hermione always standing up for elf rights and stuff like that. What does she have, that whole spew or whatever, Society for the Preservation of
God, what is it called? Yeah, it's
something. They make a whole joke about how stupid it is for Hermione to be concerned about the well-being of other creatures. It's like, oh my god, how did you, do you not have, this is only your second book, do you not have an editor to go, okay, but and then it's never brought up again. And my thought when I was going through the third and fourth books, when they just really just kind of, they never bring that shit up again, I'm like, someone told her and she went, oh my god, let's just ignore that. There's just no way to write my way out of that one, let's just move on. I'm like, I don't know how you would reconcile that either without,
like, I don't, there are, and I think you and I chatted about this just randomly, you and I chatting just about before the new millennium. There was a lot of things people wrote that made it into movies, that made it into pop culture, that were just have not aged well. Isn't what this man doing romantic? No, it's stalkery and I creepy. Don't fully blame. It's what was, it was part of, it was a culture that made everything like that okay. And so for me, the apologies that are coming now, if you're apologizing for something back then, you're a totally different person. I totally get it. Like, there's a difference between, oh god, when I was in the 90s or the early aughts, what 80s, I told some really jack off I was the homophobic jokes. But if it's been thinking about what I was doing 2 years ago, I did this. But if you're still doing that stuff, I agree. Stop it. So grow up. Since we're talking about The Boys, I mean, at least we're talking about something, since we can't really talk about The Boys season 3 because I haven't watched it. You haven't watched it, so we'll talk about it at another time. But it was the most impactful because for me, it's answered questions that I have currently of how people can be so terrible. Okay. It's not that I enjoy the answers that I received. However, for me, I have to understand the enemy in order to combat the enemy. And I believe that this season did a fantastic job of showing us how people can be corrupted without realizing that that is what is happening to them. There's a bit of that in season 2 with the one guy who gets radicalized by watching bullshit and ends up shooting some mini mart clerk or something. This one is, and some people, so some people might disagree with my assessment. People might think it's a little too like shoved in your face, or like a little too, oh, okay, they're just, completely taking this story. Like, when you watch it, you'll understand what I'm saying. But like, I can hear the haters thinking that it was nothing new, but I disagree. I think that it was exactly what was needed. And in the way that it was presented, there is no mistaking why the world is where it is today. So it does a fine job of identifying a problem, which is an important step in fixing it. Yeah. Does it provide any insight for when the problem is people you know and love and you want to help them?
Like, does it provide any like this is how people get here, and this is how you
No,
get them
no,
back? Or
no,
it's like
no,
they're gone.
no. We haven't got there. Maybe season 4.
Okay.
Season 3 ends with the schism.
Okay.
So it does, which is the process of getting to the schism is so important that we can't yet reflect on how to save those people yet.
I think it's schism,
Yeah,
but
that's what I said.
but pronounce it how it's spelled. That's fine.
Here's the thing. I have decided that when you know the language, you're allowed to make fun of it.
You can butcher it, exactly.
When you don't know it, then you have to say it correct. And then as you
Right.
get older, you can just, did you misunderstand where I was going with schism? What is it, a schism?
Schism.
Isn't it spelled?
Pretty sure. With a CH, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty sure. SCH. Ism.
Oh, I guess because school, schism, not science.
Or shul. Yeah. Having seen the trailers for season 3, I have a guess as to where that split might be, but yeah.
But I think it's beautifully done. I think it creates a lot of feelings in you. There's going to be some feelings going on, but it's
is Laser Baby back?
Okay.
Because in the second one, they go into the war and they pick up the baby and start firing it.
Please replace the son actor. He is terrible. He sucks the energy.
Is there a character called the son?
No, the boy, the son, Homelander's kid.
Oh, that son. Okay.
I don't know why I did this for Child, because he's not this big.
He was fine in the second season.
He's got a bigger role, unfortunately. Okay, so that might be the only thing, but like it's so like Homelander is so gorgeously acted that like a potato could be next to him and you'd be like, okay, fine. It's a potato.
Oh, so
but Child is terrible.
So, that Child isn't around, isn't in the scene to elevate him.
Yeah, there's nothing going on with that Child. I don't think he realizes he's in a show. It's so terrible. I don't know.
Truman showed that poor child.
I don't know whose kid that is. Obviously a Nepo baby, but like, or Nepo baby.
Nepo.
I know, but Nepo sounds like a Necco wafer, and so I just can't get behind Nepo, even though nepotism has not the nepotism, but then if you say Nepo, it sounds like a neonatal baby, and then you think you're just a preemie and you feel bad for them when really you shouldn't.
Yeah, I don't believe you really shit your pants. You call that a cry?
So anyways, that's my
feeling
story.
An infant child.
It's terrible. This is terrible. So anyways, yes, this is all true. And then anytime you can have Carl Urban
in
unwashed.
Anything, yeah.
I mean, he's
unshaven. Carl Urban is good Carl Urban.
I mean, Batman, don't let him shower for a few days. Don't let him shave for a few days. I mean, give him a toothbrush, please.
Yeah.
Oral hygiene is very important.
Yes.
But I want that oily.
The scraggly.
Yeah. Give it to me. So there you go.
All right. My final, most impactful film of 2022.
Yes.
Is a movie that featured on rotation repeatedly in our house and in our household growing up. You see, one thing that's common with at least these children, I suppose, and from what I've seen of other people's kids, it's fairly common. Kids, once they like a thing, they will just watch the hell out of it, even though there's like lots of other things to watch. So when Kelly and I
means nothing to children.
Yeah.
That is why.
They don't realize that life is finite and you've only got enough time to fit in movies. So don't rewatch stuff. There's no time.
But I haven't memorized Encanto yet.
Exactly.
Okay,
so
please continue.
Can you think of a few examples of movies that, were I to walk through the living room on any given day, I might actually see playing on the tube?
So any Christian Slater movie would be
Yes.
on the
So
tube.
Heathers or Pump Up the Volume or
Heathers and Pump of
something
the
like that.
Volume were
Yeah.
probably the biggest that I
Mhm.
watched all the time.
Yep.
Pump of the Volume probably even more than Heathers, but I also watched Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead
Yes.
all the time.
That's definitely one.
We watched The Lion King all the time.
That was that one's a both of us one. For
That
some
was a both
reason,
of us.
even though I don't know your feelings, but I've never been that big a fan of the movie. But for some reason, I was just kind of fascinated with the movie.
We did all the voices, we did
Yeah,
all the roles.
and part of it, I think we had memorized a section and we just got a kick out of reciting it, so we just kept watching the movie to
Get
be able to
everything.
recite the whole thing. I think that was one of the major overriding reasons we kept watching that movie. But
I watched what was the movie with the girl in it? The I watched 10 Things I Hate About You a lot.
That's a little bit
A
later
little
in the
later.
90s,
It
but
was a little
yeah.
that's a little later
Mhm.
in life, but let's see, what else was I watching? What else? What I honestly can't think of this.
But as you've probably divined, my last movie here is one of the movies that was on fairly frequent rotation when we were children that I rewatched this year because I remembered the movie,
Oh,
but I was like, like Heathers, which we watched on Movie Mandates a little while ago. I should go back. I mean, I remember the movie existing. I remember it being like on all the time, and I remember being a putz about it, being like, this again. Um, so I decided to rewatch The Slipper and the Rose.
oh my gosh! Oh yes! Oh my god!
And
Richard
as
Chamberlain
yes,
and
Richard Chamberlain.
position and positioning something
Da,
something
da,
and
da,
then
da, da, yeah.
he tells his foot guy who liked Lady Carolyn, and he
John.
knights him, and he knights
Yeah.
John, and he goes, go be happy, and then he has his grape and he goes, happy enough for the both of us. I
Yeah.
know this movie.
Yes.
So
So for those who don't know, The
I
Slipper and the
had John.
Rose.
Oh, I loved me some John. He was so cute.
It sings circles around Richard Chamberlain. So for those who don't know, The Slipper and the Rose is probably late 70s. It's a it's a musical adaptation of Cinderella. So it's one of many Cinderella stories, and it is a movie that was again one of those ones that was on rotation in our household a lot.
Oh my
And
god.
I only remembered the movie existing and me just being annoyed with it, probably because it's something my sister or mom liked and was always on. I'm like, oh, this again. So I decided to rewatch it after 30 some years. And oh boy. Okay. So the Slipper and the Rose.
Boy.
I am going to say unequivocally that The Slipper and the Rose is easily and by far the best Cinderella adaptation in existence. I mean, bar none, easily. This movie is probably my favorite film from last year, and it is wonderful. I don't know why I was such a putz about it.
Because you were a boy and
Because I was a 12-year-old boy. Yeah, exactly. The music is great. Even though Richard Chamberlain is, and he's one of those adequate singers, he's fine. I mean, but he's a good actor. He's very charismatic.
Oh.
And if you surround him with people like John, your boy John, who can sing,
John.
Oh yeah, it's great. The music's great, and I love what they do with the story. Man, I was blown away by this. Well, another thing that I found so amusing as I was watching it was how much I was actually remembering, like including melodies of the song, like when Richard Chamberlain and John go into the royal crypt and are
That's
singing,
how it is, and how it was, and how it always shall be.
That's actually later in the movie, but oh my god, the dance number in the kitchen. Holy
kitchen,
shit!
even the crypt scene
That
too.
crypt scene where they're dancing, ho ho he, what is something that will be?
Oh yes,
ho,
yes,
ho,
yes.
he, what a
And then
wonderful thing to know, or ho ho ho, what a wonderful thing to know. You know, and they're dancing around. Oh, it's great. I remember watching that scene because it's a great scene, and it is.
yeah, it is.
And then you get to the king. We must be protocologorically correct. Good. Da, da, da. And I'm sitting there going, bum, 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 bum. Da, 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 da. I'm like, holy shit, I remember the melody of this
and
song.
I haven't seen this for 30 years either.
Yeah. Why can't I be two people or something like that?
Why can't I have two lives?
Yeah. A bride finding ball, a bride.
Oh, and
that
guy who's just
the cousin,
swishy, the swishy cousin before they knew what that was,
who ends up saving the day. Oh my
and
god!
then the wigs,
so
this the
the costuming is wonderful.
But it's true
it's
costuming.
Big
That's
powder
the thing.
wig type of thing.
Yeah, because like she doesn't look like the Cinderella that you would expect from Cinderella because it's what she would look like at that time. Well, first off, she's a brunette, but she wears the white big wig, which none of the Cinderella stories have any of the headdresses.
Yeah.
They're just blonde with a tiara and a big old ball gown.
Yeah. What's the one with the Mr. Codpiece? Which adaptation is that? He was.
It's Ever After. Doug Ray Scott. Yeah,
Doug Ray
the
Scott,
one where as you're watching it, you're like, is he attractive?
I can't tell.
I think he's attractive.
Yeah. It's a fine codpiece.
And
most
here's
prominent,
the thing.
sir.
He is. Doug Ray is.
Doug Ray Scott is.
But it takes a minute because we don't start with the face in that movie.
Yeah, it's like I remember the codpiece.
You just work your way up.
I mean, it's kind of like a lot of people are like, you know what? It took me a while before I saw the Goblin King's face.
I was about to, when you said codpiece, I was like, Gareth?
No, but yeah, it's like I just can't look away. And then when you do, you're like, oh my. Okay, I get why Jennifer Connelly was so enthralled by this dude. I'm gonna kidnap your baby brother. Okay.
Sure. Come find me at the center of a labyrinth. Okay.
Watch me fondle my balls.
Okay. It's so good.
Okay, Jared.
Oh my god, I'm gonna have to watch it now. Slipper in the Rose.
Slipper in the Rose, yeah.
Or Jareth, one or the other.
Or Labyrinth, yeah.
Oh
and what's funny is I love if I had to pick between that and Dark Crystal, I'm a Dark Crystal guy, but I love Labyrinth too.
Labyrinth is great.
Anyway, but back to Slipper in the Rose. There are I was just genuinely amazed by how much of the movie I actually rememred. Like when it was
a made-for-TV movie too, wasn't it?
It looks like it is.
Yeah.
It looks like it has that kind of a budget.
Mm-hmm.
Although a lot of it's shot like outside, so it gets a lot of good production value. But yeah, it does have that look to it. I'm not sure if it was a theatrical release or if it was shot for TV, but but I mean, again, Richard Chamberlain, who's famous for a lot of made-for-TV stuff like Shogun and whatnot. So
yeah, but the VHS that we had was taped from TV, which means that we had those abrupt stops because we didn't want the commercials in there, and sometimes you'd like get just the hint of Downy Bear or whoever it was. It was crazy TV because we taped it off of TV.
Okay, so some things I really like about this adaptation. One of the things that's great is it started the second scene in the movie is Cinderella and her step family coming back from the father's funeral. He just passed away. So the step family is a little bit more chipper than you would expect people to be coming back from a funeral. Cinderella herself, that's her daddy, so she's she's now parentless, so she's pretty down in the dumps, and she just quietly walks upstairs, and stepmom's like, "Where do you think you're going?" She's like, "My room." "Oh,
Yeah.
your room?" Yeah, it's like, get your ass in the cellar, girl.
And it's
And what
dank.
what I love is Cinderella is not the meek, accepting, just whistle while you work kind of a thing. Granted, this is years later. Maybe she's just making the best of her lot in life, but she shoots death daggers at stepmom. She's like, "Oh, I want to punch you in the crotch," But you can also see she realizes that
I don't have a leg to stand on at the moment.
What am I gonna do? I don't have any money. I have nowhere to go. She does own all this stuff. It is her property now. So
yeah,
shit. But I mean, she makes no bones about how much she despises these people. I love that. I love the fact that she can't sew for shit. Because the bride finding ball happens, and
the dress forms are hilarious.
She can't sew. She doesn't.
The godmother comes in and is like, "Ooh, this won't do it all."
No. I love the fact that she's not like a genius sewer or cooker, and her fairy godmother has to help her out with these impossible tasks, which is funny. I love the fact that they find her after the ball because John just he's a. What's wonderful is she midnight strikes, pumpkin time. She leaves. He's like, "Oh, where's my love?" They can't find her, and John, his best buddy, is like his servant dude essentially, but best buddy. His girlfriend is a lady
in waiting.
Lady in waiting. I think the queen's lady in waiting. So he can't. They can't be together because they're in different stations. So Richard Chamberlain, Edward, I think. I watched it. It was back in August. I watched this. So
he was back when I was in, before I was a teenager.
Yeah. So he knights him.
Yeah.
So that he can go and picks another best friend. So just grab someone from the kitchen. "You're now my best friend."
He does hire some random guy who's like,
"Would you like to be my dude in waiting?" He's like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
So he knights John, and so John and Lady Caroline are frolicking in the fields, and they're all lovey-dovey, and John looks and sees a girl dancing around. He's like, "Holy shit, that's hand. Cinderella with the shoe in her hand," because Edward just like, "Fuck it, I'll never find her," and chucks it out a window, and the fairy godmother's dog finds it and then grabs Cinderella, and she's like, "Oh my god, the shoe! I remember dancing all night.
I love my shoe."
And John looks and is like, "Shit, that's her! I gotta go
find Richard."
Yeah, it's about her face, not her feet, because everyone saw her. She wasn't wearing a mask. Everyone recognizes her face. Richard Chamberlain comes charging in on the horse, and he doesn't make her try on the shoe or anything. They just start smooching because he recognizes her face.
And he gets off that horse so dashingly. That horse is running and he dismounts. The horse continues on.
I swear to God. Yeah, I swear to God. I was like, oh, stop. Because I thought he was going to just run this poor woman over with a horse, because he charges at her.
He charges at her. But it's so beautiful. And then she sees him.
But that's so wonderful. That's not based on her feet.
I know.
And so they go to the step family and are like, "Hey, we're getting married, so she's gonna come live with me. Bye, y'all." And Cinderella's like, "Oh, and by the way, stepmom, I forgive you." And off she goes. I'm like,
doesn't she say, Doesn't she say like, I am going to treat you with the same courtesy that you did me, or something like that?
Oh,
Didn't isn't
maybe something like that, but
some
like
sort of like,
if there's like we'll come visit or something, it's like, oh yeah, I'll
yeah,
extend you
there,
the
but
same
she did like,
courtesy.
yeah,
Something
I
like
forgive
that,
you, and
yeah. But I
something,
remember the I forgive you. I mean, they don't get like
their eyes
put in the
pecked out.
stocks and
Yeah,
then heated shoes or whatever was in the Grimm fairy tale.
right.
And that's the end of Act 3, but it's not the end of the movie. The movie keeps going. There's an Act 4 because there's a big problem with them getting married because she's not a woman of station. She's just a common person. And they really need to marry a princess from another kingdom so that they can
Have
avoid a
land and
war.
stuff.
So
Yeah.
one of the like advisor grand viziers or whatever, not but an advisor of the king or something, comes in and says, hey, Cinderella, you're a lovely woman and I genuinely hate to do this, but you need to leave because and you need to, and she's like, okay, well, just tell Richard Chamberlain that I never loved him in the first place because he'll come after me.
Yeah. And that song where she's
Where
singing
she's
like,
riding
tell
away,
him I never loved him, or whatever, and you're like, yes, you did.
it's sappy in the most wonderful ways. It's great. And then the godmother's like, what the fuck are you doing? Get your ass back there. And so she crashes the wedding, and it ends essentially with with them having a meeting, and the godmother's like, look, king,
I love that
change the law,
actress.
dumbass.
Whoever she is, and that little dog that's always with her. Like, that actress, she's
Yeah,
so
she's
matter of
fun.
fact and so great. Because she's not a whimsical godmother either. She's not like this floating fairy. She's like
just a lady who does her job and does it well.
Yeah.
And so they changed the law, but it turns out that Marvin or whatever the name of that cousin was just fell for the random princess that they brought in to marry Richard Chamberlain, and they're like, well, he's the cousin, so he is royal. Shit, they could just get married and this works happily ever after, guys.
Do you think that the fairy godmother put a little spell on them to make them fall, because they are kind of like mooning
unless she started really early? I'm willing to say that no, she's not forcing those. It doesn't seem her style, but the way they present at least the cousin character, it's like he'd fall in love with anyone who walked in front of him.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
If there's anything about the film that doesn't work, I would criticize the whole we got to find her and we've got this slipper and it's a particularly dainty little thing, so if the shoe fits, it must be her. And that's Richard Chamberlain's suggestion. I think that's so stupid. That should have been the king's suggestion. It's like, look, we're doing this, and Richard Chamberlain's like, fine,
you think I'm not going to recognize the woman of my dreams?
Yeah. Well, that's the interesting thing is one of the reasons they do the foot thing is because Richard Chamberlain can't just personally go visit everybody's. They send people all over the place to test things. He's not there. So I mean, you would think there'd be something like anyone who fits the shoe, bring them back here and I'll look at their face and see if it's the right person. But I really wish that was the king's. Well, that's a tiny shoe. Yes, it's must be one of a kind. Anyone who fits this shoe must be your girlfriend. And Richard Chamberlain's like, no, there could be lots of people with small feet. It's like, nope, I proclaim that. No, dad, please, that's dumb. And it's like, okay, but this is like the last hope of finding her, so he goes along because he does. That I think would have worked better. That's really the only part of the film that I don't think really works. But other than that, it is great music, great performances, fun characters, well plotted. Interestingly, it's like 4 acts plus a denouement.
Yeah.
Which is odd structure for a movie, so kind of leads that it may have actually been made for TV. I'm not sure. But yeah, glad to see that there was a reason.
But I had good taste as a kid.
Heavy rotation. Oh God, do I have to watch Black Beauty now and see if that's actually good?
Oh my God, I think it was called The Black Stallion.
Oh, Black Stallion, yeah.
That's
the name of the horse, but the film is The Black Stallion. Yeah,
The Black Stallion is the one that I watched a lot.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so those are our top 3 most impactful things we watched in 2022.
there you go.
So Kelly and I will keep watching stuff, and we'll tell you what impacted us most next year. So
And then drink some prune juice
and drink some prune juice
after being
so impacted. Yeah, I got it. Okay, and on that scatological joke, have a wonderful day, everyone. Take care. Bye bye.